Seeing the COVID-19 pandemic blazing through the world got me thinking about personal protective equipment and the shortage it's created for nurses and other healthcare workers. I started to wonder if there was an easy method to count how many ways you can distribute a scarce resource among a group of people. So, say we have 5 nurses and 10 identical face masks. The question is, how many ways can we distribute these 10 masks among the 5 nurses? Though it sounds simple, this is actually a pretty hard problem. Don't worry, there's a very elegant solution we'll work up to, and a bonus problem if you make it all the way to the end. Take a moment to pause the video and try to solve the problem on your own. You'll find the solution much more interesting if you try to solve the problem first. The first thing we could try is listing out all the ways you could give out the masks. We could give all 10 masks to the first nurse, or 5 masks to the first nurse and 5 masks to the second nurse, or we could give all 10 to the second nurse, and so on. There are a lot of possibilities, way too many to count by hand. We're going to need a more clever solution. Solving this problem for 5 nurses is hard. Maybe we'll have an easier time if we try to find the answer for fewer nurses. If we just had 1 nurse and 10 masks, there's only one way to distribute them. Give all the masks to the nurse. Easy enough. What about if we had 2 nurses? We could give 10 masks to the first nurse and 0 to the second, or we could give 9 to the first and 1 to the second, or we could give 8 to the first and 2 to the second, and so on. And if we go through all the possibilities, we'll see there are 11 ways to distribute the 10 masks to 2 nurses. Let's try to look at this another way. We'll use 2 symbols, an X for a mask and a vertical bar to represent a division between nurses. We have 10 masks, so we imagine a word with 10 X's. We then take this vertical bar and we start putting it between the X's. The X's or masks before the bar go to the first nurse, and the X's after the bar go to the second nurse. So if we put the bar here, the first nurse would get 10 masks and the second would get 0. Similarly, if we put the bar here, the first nurse would get 5 masks and the second nurse would get 5 masks. There are 11 ways to put the bar between the X's, so again, we count 11 ways to distribute the 10 masks to 2 nurses. We can also note that the number of ways to place this bar is equivalent to figuring out how many ways we can arrange a word with 10 X's and 1 bar, which is equal to 11 choose 1, which is 11 factorial over 10 factorial times 1 factorial, which is again equal to 11. Let's try one more example, this time with 3 nurses, but instead of thinking about masks and nurses, we'll again imagine X's and bars, except this time we have 2 bars. As an example, arranging the bars like this would be equivalent to giving 5 masks to the first nurse, 4 to the second, and 1 to the third. So the number of ways to give 10 masks to 3 nurses is the number of ways to arrange 10 X's and 2 bars, which is just 12 choose 2, which is 12 factorial divided by 2 factorial times 10 factorial, which is equal to 66. Now we're ready to tackle distributing 10 masks to 5 nurses. Again, we write this in terms of X's and bars. It should be clear from the previous examples that the number of bars we have is 1 less than the number of nurses, so we're working with 4 bars. The number of ways to distribute the masks is equivalent to how many ways we can arrange 10 X's and 4 bars, which is 14 choose 4, which equals 14 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 10 factorial, which is equal to 1001. And that's our answer. There are 1001 ways to distribute 10 masks among 5 nurses. Some of these ways involve giving all the masks to some nurses and none to the others. As a bonus problem, see if you can figure out how many ways you can distribute 10 masks to 5 nurses if each nurse is guaranteed at least 1 mask. Leave your answer along with any thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks, and see you next time.